Seattle Seahawks. They lose 30-24 at home in Nissan Stadium. Somehow, the Titans managed to look average, which is a huge step forward if you're thinking about where this team is in the grand scheme of things. Cam Ward, I believe, played his best game as a Tennessee Titan. He had, let's see, Cam Ward stats on the day. Yes, Cam Ward, 28 for 42 for 256 and a passing touchdown. Also had 6 carries for 37 yards and a rushing touchdown. Cam Ward played his best game as a Tennessee Titan. And we'll get into some of that today. Parker Kelly, good morning. How are you?
I am just great, Connor. If you want to know what I'm on this morning, I hit a leg workout before I came in this morning while listening to Christmas music. So if that tells you anything about my mood today,
all right,
that should do it.
You had me in the first half, and then you said Christmas music on, let's see, November 24th.
Did Mariah make an appearance this morning? Some say she did. I will not disclose that information, but I will tell you, Connor, I used to be in the camp that we don't celebrate Christmas until after Thanksgiving. But now, as I get a little bit older, I start to, a couple days before Thanksgiving, I'll listen to some Christmas music.
My mom and my dad went to go get the Christmas tree yesterday from Home Depot, and I'm kind of mad about it because I'm like, why are we caving to this celebratory Christmas mentality before we even hit Thanksgiving? That's just not kind of the lifestyle I'd like to live. But regardless, we're talking about the Titans. Today is reaction day to the Tennessee Titans and reaction day to the two teams in college football. I have a feeling some receipts are coming my way in terms of the Vanderbilt game, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Cam Ward, as I said, played his best game as a Tennessee Titan. Chim Dike continues to be the most electric player in special teams in the NFL today. I said it. I will go there. There isn't a player across any team right now that I can look at and say has the capability of running one back like Chim Dike does. I don't want to go the direction Cam Ward went yesterday in his press conference, in which he called Chim Dike an all-pro. I don't know if he's there yet. He's got a lot of room to grow. But on special teams, I think he is truly magnificent. On offense, I think he's a serviceable receiver. I wouldn't label him as a number one quality receiver just yet. I think he's more of a slot guy, maybe a 2 or a 3 on a good roster at least. But regardless, he's doing some good things and getting involved in the offense. So it's nice to see that Chim Dike is coming into his own.
I'll do you one further. I do think he's an all-pro returner as a rookie. I think he is an all-pro returner.
Yeah, and I'm getting there.
Should be, as of right now, should be a lock to make the Pro Bowl as the returner.
I agree there.
See, the Titans haven't seen a guy return a punt for a touchdown since 2012, and Chim Dike has 2 in his first 11 games in the NFL and should have had 3, but it got called back. So what he's doing for this Titans team is a revelation.
Yeah, it's truly, if there's one part of the ball that you can look at for the Titans that has been consistently all year, it's the special teams. Bones Fossil has transformed the special teams with help from Chim Dike returning those punts, and he's looked very, very good doing it. Obviously, there's some positives that we're talking about today. There are negatives, and we'll get into both of those throughout the hour, the positive side and the negative side. Chim Dike, of course, is one of the many positives that I think you can take away from yesterday. There are no moral victories in professional sports. That's kind of been the thing harped on all morning by Robby and Joe. That was the thing that popped into my mind yesterday after the game. But if you are a moral victory person and you're looking for the small things, yesterday is probably a good day to hang your hat on. There were a lot of things that I think showed progress towards the Titans' development. Cam Ward played a great day. Chim Dike had a great day. Let's pump the brakes on Xavier Restrepo having 2 catches for 26 yards and 18 snaps. Don't think he's ready for Canton just yet. And quite honestly, I don't understand where that comes from. But let's pump the brakes on him. Kevin Winston, I think, played a phenomenal game yesterday, had a big tackle for loss. And that's a guy you watch on the field, and he's just everywhere. He is doing something when he's on the field. And I think heading into the future, he is going to be a pillar for this defense, and we'll get more into him throughout the program. It really, I came away with that game yesterday not expecting a lot. This was one of those games all week that you thought, yeah, the Titans are going to get rolled. Kind of like that Colts game a couple weeks ago. We went into that one thinking the Titans have zero chance. And throughout the game, I thought, yeah, the Titans are probably not going to win this one. But I can see some progress being built, and that was kind of what I wanted to see going into this one. I think we got that and then some. I think, like I said, Cam Ward played his best game as a Tennessee Titan. The receivers, although depleted, did their job. The running game did not. We'll get into that. The offensive line was average. Not a great day for the Titans defense, but I think there are some takeaways that you can take from yesterday's game moving forward and say they're moving in the right direction on some level. It is a very, very low bar, and I think we all know that. But I think there are some things that we can look at from this win, or not win, moral win yesterday and say, yeah, if that continues to trend that way, the Titans can build off of that and they'll be all right. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to get involved in the conversation. We got some text to read here. Jeremy in Clarksville says Dike has a ways to go before he is Desmond Howard or Devin Hester. I agree with you. I don't think he's the greatest returner of all time just yet, but he has been.
He's a rookie. We're not saying that.
No.
But he leads the league in all-purpose yards.
Yeah, as Dustin in Hopkinsville points out, Chim Dike is leading in all-purpose yards across the league. He's a weapon, a stud, and a threat when on the field. I agree with that. I think he has been kind of a spark plug to a pretty much lost season. He has been kind of the key takeaway you can look at and say, that is a guy that they absolutely hit on. And I was not a fan of the pick at the time in the 4th round. I thought there are much better receivers available, like Alec Eiermanner, and then they ended up taking him anyway. But he is proven, other than Cam Ward, to be the Titans' most effective draft pick this season. I don't think there's any doubt in saying that. Chim Dike has proven himself as the most effective draft pick in Mike Borgonzi's first draft. There's nothing you can say that can argue, obviously, other than Cam Ward. Cam Ward is your franchise quarterback, and you take him at number 1 for a reason, and I think he showed why you take a quarterback at number 1. But Chim Dike has been a spark plug for special teams. He's been a spark plug for the offense. He has been everything you want to see, and then some, if you are the Titans. I truly believe that.
No, definitely the most effective to this point. Now, you're hoping, like you said, Cam Ward is going to be your franchise quarterback. And I think if you watch the game and not just listen on the radio, Trey, if you actually watch the game yesterday,
I am very excited for him to call in.
Well, just wait till 9:15. That's when he usually calls in. But if you watch the game yesterday and you see the passes that Cam Ward was making, the fact that he used his legs more yesterday, which Jake and I have been calling for a long time, he improved. Now, it was marginal, but he improved. So that's something to hang your hat on, at least for this week.
I agree. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to get involved in the conversation. The strep heads are already coming after me, so it's going to be a great day.
Yeah, you kind of set yourself up for that one.
And, well, some things deserve to be said.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it on the other side. 615-737-1025. As I mentioned, there are some positives to take away from the game yesterday, although a loss. Some positives. We'll get into some of those on the other side. Again, 615-737-1025. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly here with you on Next Man Up on 1025 The Game. There you go. That was the play that capped it off yesterday. Oh, is this Cory's playlist?
No, we're gonna do Country Monday today, but I
Okay.
just felt like starting off with this one would be appropriate.
Okay. I like Country Monday.
Where the lights are shining on me. That's what Chim Dike is saying.
That was the play. That is probably the highlight of the Titans game yesterday in a good way. It was a great play. Chim Dike takes it from 90 plus back on a punt return touchdown. We'll go back in. Next man up. Jake Lyman out today. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly in today. Let's get into, I'm a positive guy. You're a positive guy. Let's get into the positives from yesterday's game against the Seahawks. Obviously, you just heard one of the positives. Chim Dike and the special teams absolutely thrived in this game. Chim Dike takes a punt return back to the house, his second of the year from 90 plus. And we've kind of talked about him a little bit in the first segment. I'll kind of reiterate. Chim Dike has been the spark plug that this team needs. I think moving forward, he's going to be a key piece, maybe not a number one receiver. And I honestly wouldn't be in favor of moving him to the number one spot because, as a texter points out, most number one receivers don't end up taking back punts or kicks either. It's just not something that happens because they're focused on getting primary reps in the offense. I'm good with Chim Dike being a rotational second or third wide receiver on your offense. The problem is, after that, you got to find a number one. And without getting into draft talk today, I think that's where you're going to find your number one. Chim Dike has truly been an all-pro. I think I'm coming around to that, Parker. I think he's an all-pro return specialist this season. He's absolutely a Pro Bowl lock, in my opinion. Not that the Pro Bowl really means anything anymore. It's kind of just a glorified flag football game, but it still goes on the official record. So Chim Dike, obviously a positive in the direction of the Titans and a positive from yesterday's game. The other probably biggest positive was the play of Cam Ward. Cam Ward yesterday made number one overall player place. I think
player plays.
Player place.
There we go.
Number one overall pick place. He looked fantastic. The play that comes to mind, and strep heads, please contain yourself when I say this. He rolls right, of course, scrambles to the right, and you could tell he was saying, Xavier, just get open. I'll find you. Somehow completes a pass through contact, finds a wide open Xavier Restrepo, who obviously just went and found an open space. I don't know if there was much of route running there, but regardless, it was a great play. The rushing touchdown he had a touchdown to Chim Dike, of course. So there you go. Another Chim Dike to harp on. Cam Ward, I think, played phenomenally yesterday. And that was, I don't want to say the first time, but it was one of the few times this season I've looked at the play of Cam Ward and thought, yeah, he's going to be all right. He's going to be just fine if you get some offense around him and if you get some pieces around him. He's got all the talent. I truly believe that. Now, I don't think he has generational talent, but I think he has the talent to build around to make him a franchise quarterback. It's a matter of, can you build around him? And whether or not you trust the Titans are to do that, that's your opinion. I'm not particularly there yet either. But I think you can look at Cam Ward's play yesterday and say, that was worthy of the number one overall pick. And look, there are going to be people that say, yeah, well, number one overall pick will win you some games. I think you got to look at the roster volume around him and things that are playing into him. He managed to persevere past that yesterday against a good defense, one of the NFC's best. Cam Ward looked good yesterday. Kevin Winston also looked really good yesterday. And that is a core piece heading into the future. People forget Kevin Winston was looked at as a first-round pick before he tore his ACL. Obviously slides to the third round. The Titans capitalize on that, but he's got first-round talent. And I think you kind of see that when he's on the field. He makes things happen. He had a tackle for loss yesterday, had a few, won't go on the stat sheet, but played great in coverage. Kevin Winston is going to be a demon in the league. And look, we don't know yet. Obviously, he's a rookie. He's had very limited opportunities. But when he's on the field, he makes an instant impact. So I'm excited to see the development of Kevin Winston. 615-737-1025. Phone lines are loaded up. Let's see here. Let's go to our good buddy Adam in Portland, who's got a thought. Adam, good morning.
Hey, man. Yeah, so I won't harp too hard on Restrepo. I think he's a cool player. I like seeing him out there. There's not a lot of that on this team.
Sure.
I will say the game could not have went more perfect for us. We've been miserable this season. We do not need to start winning. I don't want to finish the season with 7 wins and end up picking 12. We need to lose every game, but the thought of them being able to be competitive in each game, can get better, can make decisions where he doesn't get himself hurt, he doesn't turn the ball over. Like, I can get down with losing games that way. And you're seeing, when you think, oh, God, our roster sucks so bad, think of where we were at the beginning of the season, man. It was like, are we going to see more Pollard and Ridley? And this? No, we're not seeing anything from any of these dudes. We're seeing young Morganzi guys looking great. Which, by the way, the one negative that I'm going to take away from yesterday, Zeitler sucks so bad. And I thought, and I was wrong on him because I thought he was a stud. He sucks so bad. Like, he is the worst line. He is PK or PT. Like, he is so bad at playing a guard, man. Like, what a liability. You can't get 1 yard, and you're like a 20-year vet, and you can't plug it. I mean, it's just insane how bad that guy is. But as far as our team yesterday, dude, I don't take anything negative away except for Zeitler. I'm happy that we lost. I'm happy that we competed.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Adam. He's right. Obviously, with a team this bad, you've got to have some kind of positivity. And look, I'm not here to sunshine pump things and say everything's going to be A-okay because this is a 1-10 football team. Let's not act like this is a Super Bowl contending team. But if you're a Titans fan, I think yesterday's result is kind of what you want. You show progress. You show some good things and some positive things we can talk about the next day, and you still lose. So that's good for draft position.
I love how Adam said, I don't want to win 7 games. Trust me, Adam, that's not going to happen.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
You
may not win 3 more this year.
Titans are 1-10. They may be lucky to get 1 more.
Right. But he put it perfectly. If you're a Titans fan, yesterday's result is exactly what you want to see. Oh, boy. All right, let's see what he did wrong.
Let's all brace ourselves.
Everyone
take a deep breath. Listening in Middle Tennessee.
Deep breaths.
Because we welcome who?
We welcome Trey to the program. Trey, go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning, Connor. Good morning, gang. Hey, I just wanted to say, after listening to the game yesterday, I was actually impressed with Cam.
Oh, wow.
I can honestly say he did everything I asked him to do, which was run for first downs. If you don't see anything out there, run. He passed the ball decent, and I just wanted him to go over 250 yards and get a couple of touchdowns. He did that. Normally 24 points, you're still in the game. He got to, stay at that level. I want to see him stay at that level, and he needs some help. He needs somebody else to catch a couple of touchdowns. Wide receivers, Restrepo, he did well, I think. Being an underdog, and I think his numbers will get better. And I'm on the fence, but he's getting better. And I appreciate that. And I love you guys, and y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Trey. You see what we've done there, Parker? We just unlocked positive Trey.
Well, the thing was, I was disappointed because he said, after listening to the game, what will it take to get Trey to watch the game? That's what I want to know. We got him to be positive about Cam Ward. Now let's get him to watch the game.
Baby steps, my friend. Yeah, I mean, he said everything we've been saying, right? Cam Ward played a number 1 pick game yesterday. It wasn't anything elite. It wasn't anything, oh my God, Cam Ward has thrown for 350 and 5 touchdowns. Oh my Lord. No, but he played a solid game. He threw for over 250. He accounted for multiple touchdowns. I thought he played a good game. Dustin in Hopkinsville says Trey is lying. He's just tired of us torching him.
That could also be a possibility.
But look, Trey's a good caller. Calls in pretty consistently every day.
We appreciate the listenership.
We like him. He's good to us, so we take his calls. Let's go back to our phone lines. Welcome in Keegan to the program. Keegan, good morning.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Hope y'all doing all right. Heard y'all want to talk some positives about the Titans, and honestly, I got a lot of positives, man. You know, I called in last week talking about how asking a few different guys how we set our expectations going into Sunday, and I think we did a great job meeting those expectations. Obviously, JSN and Sam Darnold had the connection they had, but did anyone expect us to stop him? You know, but if you go into it deeper than that, you know, you are going to talk about all the reasons, but Cam had a much, much, much better game. Looked like a real NFL quarterback, which just gives you a lot of hope going on to the future. You look at certain receivers like Dike, obviously, but even James Prochet had a couple good catches. You got Gunnar Helm stepping up, getting involved, and even Chike was involved. Not Chike, Chig was involved in the passing game as well. The offensive line running game didn't do much. Defense played competitive outside of the secondary, which we all know we have a bad secondary. I mean, coaching was even more aggressive, went forward on a few fourth downs, which, you know, a lot of people want to do. I just think overall we had a much better game this week than we probably had in the past month or two altogether. Just all around, we had a much, much better week than normal. That's about all I got for you guys. I'll hang up and listen.
All right. Thank you, Keegan. Yeah.
Keegan's the man.
Positives there. I don't want to come on here. And I think, although a loss yesterday, Titans are still 1-10. Today is not a day to relish in the negatives. Today is a day to say, hey, they did some good things yesterday. They competed with one of the better teams in the NFC and maybe in the upper echelon of the NFL. What does that say about the Seahawks? I'm not quite sure, but they did some good things yesterday. Cam Moore did some good things. Chim Dike did some good things. And we're talking about the good things. But not anymore. Let's get to the bad things on the other side. 615.
You couldn't keep talking about the positives for too long.
Well, the text line is riling me up right now because I'm getting receipts from Vandy fans, and I'll address that throughout the show. Basically, I was wrong, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm a man, and I will admit it.
You want to put on the clown nose for the live stream?
No, and I'm good. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to get involved in the conversation. Our phone and text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. It's Hyundai.com. Mondays were made for Macero, big screens, bold flavors, and all the football action. From queso to kickoffs, this is how Macero does game night. Macero Football Mondays in 12 South. Don't miss a snap. Also, let me tell you, Chase and Big Joe will be broadcasting live at the all-new Circa Sportsbook Kentucky in the Mint Gaming Hall this Monday prior to the Monday Night Football game. Monday night matchup is the Panthers against the 49ers. That is tonight. Should be an interesting game to keep your eye on. When we come back, we'll talk about the negatives from yesterday's Titans loss 30-24 to the Seattle Seahawks. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly here with you on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. There we go. Zach Top, baby. It does, in fact, sound like the radio, as you are probably listening to the radio.
Ironic, isn't it?
Isn't that ironic? That's also a great song. That should make a White Girl Friday appearance. Alanis Morissette.
Really?
Oh.
Zach Top?
No, Alanis Morissette.
Oh, okay.
Ironic. Anyways, this afternoon on Totally Hits 93.3, catch MTSU men's basketball as the Blue Raiders take on the President of the United States, George Washington, at 4 p.m. Coverage also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at totallyhitsnashville.com. Welcome back in. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman out. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly in with you today. We just harped on the positives, the good things to take away from a Titans loss yesterday as they lose 30-24 to the Seattle Seahawks at Nissan Stadium. Titans are 1-10, so naturally, let's focus in real quick on the negatives. The number one negative I take away from yesterday's loss, Dan Moore is hurt. Obviously, the man door has not been great for the Titans. He has not been he's been a starting quality left tackle, but he's not been a good one, if that makes sense. He's allowed a lot of sacks. He's allowed a lot of pressures. The Titans' left tackle woes continue with him. And look, he's not as bad as PT or Andre Dillard or anyone that was there originally. Dylan Radins on occasion. But he's not great. That said, him being hurt is not a good thing. Because in his place, Oli Udoh came in, and Oli Udoh is significantly worse than Dan Moore. I don't think there's any question about that. So Dan Moore being hurt is not a good thing if you're the Titans offense. How severe that is, I don't know. I don't think it's super severe, but it is a knee injury from what we understand. So that could come back to be a problem in the coming weeks. So Dan Moore being hurt is definitely a negative. Probably the biggest, well, I said Dan Moore is probably the biggest negative, but another big one is the defense did not look great. Jeffrey Simmons didn't have a good day, and I heard someone on Robby and Rexrode talking about, well, where was the leadership from Jeffrey Simmons? Why wasn't he this defensive player of the year? I don't have the answer to that. All I know is that the defense struggled yesterday, and maybe that's par for the course when you're playing against Sam Darnold, who is playing like an MVP-level quarterback right now, and Jackson Smith-Njigba, who is the leading receiver in the NFL, had a career day yesterday, went for 2 touchdowns and over 160 receiving. I think he is, maybe that's par for the course, and you don't have the secondary to do things like that. Jeffrey Simmons didn't have a great day. The whole front line really didn't have a great day. Arden Key was credited with a sack, but that was about it. Other than Kevin Winston. Kevin Winston played well. The defense, there's not a lot to work with there, right? I feel for Denard Wilson. And, you can't turn water into wine with a team like that. There's no way that Denard Wilson, even if he is just an absolute defensive guru, which I don't think he truly is, there's no way he can turn a pumpkin into a carriage with that kind of defense. Your secondary is Marcus Harris and Jalen Armour-Davis. Those are not top corners in the league. They weren't even top corners on this roster until moves were made. Obviously, they got rid of Roger McCreary and I'm already blanking on his name. Anyways, he's in Jarvis Brownlee. Thank you. And he went to the Jets. The secondary is going to be a problem for the rest of the year. And I understand you were up against Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp, who are 2 proven wide receivers in this league. And Cooper Kupp didn't have too much of a great day yesterday anyway. But regardless, it's a good offense. They did not play well yesterday. I don't think there's any sugarcoating that. All right, I listed this as a negative. It's not really a negative because I think he played fine given the volume he was given. But we got to stop labeling Xavier Restrepo as a Hall of Fame wide receiver. He played 18 snaps, had 2 catches for 26 yards. A texter asked me earlier, what would Calvin Ridley have done? And what has he done this season that was better than that? At Arizona, Calvin Ridley had 5 catches for 131 yards. I mean, there's a stark difference between 5 catches for 131 yards and 2 catches for 26 yards. And look, I think Restrepo played fine. he played about what I expected, and that was not much. And when he was, he, made some routine catches. His first catch was because he found a hole, and Cam Ward just managed to make space. He found a hole and got the catch. The second catch, he just ran across the middle, and Seattle was playing a zone coverage, so Restrepo ran across the middle, found an open lane, and hauled it in. So good for him. I mean, do I think he's going to be a mainstay on the roster now? No, probably not. He was a practice squad call-up, and he, did what he was supposed to do when called on. Good for him. But I don't think Xavier Restrepo is this all-pro level wide receiver waiting in the windows for the Titans. There's a reason he went undrafted. There's a reason no one's claimed him off the practice squad. There's a reason Mason Kinsey and James Prochet were called up before Xavier Restrepo is. And that's not me knocking on him as a person or me, crapping on him. I think he's probably a really good person. He's probably really proud of the game he had yesterday, and he should be. He made his first NFL start and recorded an NFL catch. That's more than I can say I've ever done. I've never even, laced him up on an NFL football field. Good on him. But the level of, over positivity we have towards Xavier Restrepo is kind of maddening at this point. Restrepo did fine. He did what he was supposed to do, and that's, be a safety blanket for Cam Ward. But I see where this comes from in that, Cam Ward and Xavier Restrepo are friends. That means they're going to have a Brady Moss level connection. No, it's not at all what that means. That just means that you have some chemistry in the locker room and that they've played before together. So the fact that, people are just propping up Xavier Restrepo and saying, we're going to be just fine. I got quoted yesterday for, quote, rage baiting when I said Xavier Restrepo is an average to below average wide receiver who just happened to make plays. I'm not trying to rage bait. I'm just trying to give you my opinion. And my opinion is that Xavier Restrepo was fine and good on him, but 2 catches for 26 yards is not Hall of Fame worthy. Breaking news. I don't think Xavier Restrepo is going to Canton after his first game with the Titans. Am I wrong in thinking that, Parker? Am I wrong in thinking that Xavier Restrepo is not deserving of this Canton level hype?
Well, obviously Canton is a huge stretch. I think a lot of people love Xavier Restrepo based on the person that he is and what he was able to do at the college level. I don't think he's going to be this number one wide receiver that went undrafted. I don't think he's the next Mark Mariani or someone like that, but I think people love a good underdog story, and that's why so many people want to see him do well. And I'm one of those people. I got really excited when I saw his first catch yesterday.
Yeah, I want to see him do well.
I just think it's important to be realistic about things. If he was this next coming, he would have made the 53, or when he was waived originally, he would have got picked up by another team. And NFL teams have had a chance to pick him up all season long as he's been sitting on the Titans practice squad. James Prochet got called up before him. Mason Kinsey got called up before him. So that shows where he is in terms of being on the depth chart. But that doesn't take away. I thought he got put in the game on offense for the first time in the third quarter yesterday. I thought he made most of what the opportunities he was able to get yesterday. And I honestly, selfishly, I hope he gets more.
Yeah, of course I want to see him get more. I think he's a nice guy. And look, he played fine. I don't expect much more out of him because we know what he is. Obviously, he didn't make a 53-man roster. If he was that much of a prodigy, don't you think someone would have picked him up from a practice squad? Don't you think someone would have taken a chance and drafted him? There's a reason he went undrafted. But it's just, he's not this future Hall of Famer. He's not a future number one receiver, at least not right now. Things can change. But from what I've seen and what he showed, I don't know why people are hyping him up to be this, oh my God, he's the next Calvin Johnson. We've got him just waiting in the off stage. It's not realistic. Kyle on the text line says Titan receivers haven't been great at making routine catches this year. Media is really taking the fan perspective out of proportion. Is it reasonable to want to give him a look when other players are dropping balls, especially considering the chemistry they had in college? No.
That's why he got called up.
That's why he got called up. And look, the reason he got called up is A, because of that, and B, did you see the other receivers that were out there? Chim Dike played. Alec Iomanner was out. Calvin Ridley's obviously out for the year. Van Jefferson, I keep forgetting, is on the roster. He had one catch for 11 yards yesterday, but there wasn't enough receivers. That's why he got called up. And it's not because it's like Major League Baseball where you've just got Paul Skeens developing in, AAA. This is NFL, and practice squad guys are on the practice squad for a reason. This isn't a farm system. It's just a safety blanket. I don't understand the Xavier Restrepo hype. I really don't. And maybe I will one day, but today is not that day. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Now that we've discussed the positives and the negatives, I want to know from you. Do the positives outweigh the negatives? Obviously, a loss is a loss, but the Titans didn't look completely outmatched against one of the NFC's better teams. I want to hear from you. 615-737-1025. Do the positives from yesterday's loss outweigh the negatives? We'll get to that coming up next, right here on Next Man Up on 1025 The Game. This is like Bailey Zimmerman's one good song. I don't understand the hype on him.
Not one. He's had a couple. I've seen him in concert. So
Yeah, I have too. He opened for Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, that's where
I
I
saw him. This one's fine. The one with Luke Combs is good.
Backup plan?
Yeah, because I think of SEC football.
Yeah.
That's about it.
There's New to Country's good. He has a couple good ones.
It's like Xavier Restrepo. He's fine. 615-737.
Wow.
Welcome back in. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game.
Connor Newt is out for blood today.
Connor Newt.
He's out for blood.
Well, I have to admit when I'm wrong, and I will do that in about 15 minutes. Vanderbilt fans are not happy with me right now, and maybe rightfully so. I will admit my wrongdoing coming up at about 15 minutes. But we've addressed the positives from yesterday's Titans game. We've addressed the negatives. And I think I've riled up the strep heads, but that's okay. So I want to hear from you. Do the positives outweigh the negatives? 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go to Gorilla on the phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Gorilla, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. How you guys doing?
We're doing well.
All right. My stance is clear, as firm, as stern, man. The whole Restrepo thing, for one, guys, look at it from this standpoint here. When he ran that 4.8, that took him pretty much off everybody's board. He was going to go maybe in the second round at best. So running that slow deal just kind of turned other teams off from dealing with him. But now the Titans, on the other hand, it's just coaching malpractice. It's not understanding the players and whatnot, man. This guy should have been in. He should have been in, guys. I'm serious. Over Bryce, over Van Jefferson, he should have been. Over Tyler Lockett, he should have been in, for the simple fact and reason that the quarterback and the receiver has a built-in chemistry. I mean, that's coaching malpractice. Any other team that had that luxury would have played that young man. He come on, guys. Keep it 100 and real. And he's a gamer. He's going to be one of our top receivers. You mark it. What's today's date? Gorilla said it. He's going to be one of our top receivers, man. The guy is a gamer. Do you hear me? He's a gamer. He's to the offense what Malcolm Butler was, coming out of a little small school in Mississippi, going on to winning a Super Bowl and making a nice career for himself. Those are gamers, guys. I'm sorry if you can't recognize that. I'll hang up and listen, man. Love your show. Keep it going, fellas.
I appreciate the call, Gorilla. That is exactly what I'm talking about right there. And Gorilla has the right.
He literally said that.
The Gorilla has the right to his opinion, and rightfully so. I just respectfully disagree. You don't play a receiver starting reps in an NFL offense because him and the quarterback are friends and because they have a chemistry. If he's not talented enough to run with the ones, he's not talented enough to run with the ones. And obviously that was the scenario here. He also said, this is a very minor thing, but he said Xavier Restrepo he would have been a second round pick at best with his 40 time. I think the 40 time is exclusively what knocked him down. That is
size.
Size.
Connor, here's the thing. Like we were both out there throughout the whole offseason and like leading up to training camp, rookie mini camp. We were out there for all of it.
Yeah.
So we saw Xavier Restrepo, and he was a magnet for the football, but it was never really anything deep.
Right.
Or half the time it wasn't even intermediate. Everything he caught was short and, just helps move the sticks. But he caught a lot of passes, but he was overshot. Like Bryce Oliver had a fantastic training camp. And honestly, it's a shame that we haven't got to see more of him because he's been injured pretty much the whole year. Van Jefferson, he gets the nod because he's been a veteran and he's been in the league for so long. Tyler Lockett, same thing. And honestly, Tyler Lockett had one more good year left in the tank, but he's with the Titans. So we're not going to see that. Calvin Ridley, you're paying him $90 million. Who else am I forgetting? Alec Manor,
Yeah.
he shined early. Chim Dike, we see what he's doing now. So there's only so much space, and only you can only play around with the numbers so much.
Yeah, and look, I'm not advocating for Xavier Restrepo to be cut. Absolutely not. I think if he has earned his opportunity, then by all means, give him more opportunities. Let him show that he's capable of playing in an NFL offense. I'm just saying, after a game where he played 18 snaps with 2 catches for 26 yards, let's pump the brakes a little bit, right? This is not, this is not an NFL, Hall of Fame worthy performance. Wes in Clarksville says, I think Restrepo could be like another NWI. Maybe so. I'm not saying.
I'd love for it to be that way.
I'd absolutely love.
We're not like I'm rooting for him. I told you I'm openly rooting for Xavier Restrepo.
There's this misconception.
Misconception.
That's what we're gonna call it. Misconception that I am rooting for Xavier Restrepo to fail. Absolutely not. I want to see him succeed. I think if he is given the opportunities that he is given and he makes the most of them, then absolutely make him, a key piece of the offense. I don't agree. Justin Greenbrier says, I disagree with your take on DK not being able to be a number 1 receiver because he is good on special teams and returns. D-Mace made a career of all-purpose yards and was hands down one of the best to ever play receiver for the Titans and even in the NFL. That's a good point, Justin. I see where you're coming from. I just think if you look at the way D-Mace played football and you look at the way Chim Dike played football, a little bit different, right? And I'm not saying you're wrong. There's absolutely a way where Dike can be a number 1 receiver. Similar to Xavier Restrepo, I think if you look at the volume we're playing with and you look at the team that Titans team was and the team this one is, it's a little bit different, right? I think I'm not saying you're wrong. You could absolutely be right. I'm just not there yet. 8576 says, pump the brakes on this Hall of Fame narrative. You're trying to put people on polling for X. It's just, that's what you're seeing. Keegan has weighed in. Our defense, let's see, he wrote a whole essay. Just as every week, a huge lack of Jimmys and Joes across the roster, although coaching was more aggressive, offensive play calling for Bo Hardegree is still well below par. Our defense continues to fight very, very hard. They just lack a serious amount of real NFL Jimmys and Joes. Not too many negatives in my eyes in general, just need more guys and a better coach on a weekly basis, but we're stuck with what we got. Absolutely, the positives outweigh the negatives. Such an underdog punching up against a much stronger opponent, staying in the game. What have you? I agree with Keegan there. I think the positives from yesterday's game outweigh the negatives. Quickly, let's go to our phone lines. Welcome in my good buddy Dustin in Hopkinsville to the program. Dustin, good morning.
Dustin, good morning.
Good morning, guys. So they've been bringing receipts, huh?
Yeah, it's
all morning.
All morning.
Connor's been getting
Okay.
flamed.
Well, I've had this one in the back pocket. Win something and then let me know.
Well,
don't win something big, then let me know, guys.
in all fairness, they weren't
wrong.
I'm
bleeding blue, multiple colors of shades of blue,
right?
Blue and UK blue.
In all fairness, they have a right to come at me today. I said I thought this was going to be a trap game on paper before the game started.
Yeah.
It was, and then they came in and blitzed us. So that's fine with me.
That's fine. My main reason to call. I got a few things on the Titans game as far as the negatives. Let's talk about the coaching and play calling this whole season and what I called in and screamed over and over. Throw to the damn tight ends and have some planned runs for Cam Moore. I don't even know if more than one was planned yesterday, but thank you, Cam, because you're not some track star. But, buddy, you're elusive. You can get through that line when you see it collapsing, and you can go get us 15 yards, 5 yards, and you continued the drive. And this play calling has been butt cheeks this whole dang season until yesterday. And they tried to do it yesterday, putting Pollard up the middle. We can't run the ball behind this line. I think two things are correct. I think Pollard's done. I think that Spears needs elevated. And this line right now is what did Rexrode call Mandor? He called his backup a little hinge. I love that. But, on the Restrepo things, guys, I'm going to stay right where I've been. I think after a few games, we're going to see, no, he's not going to be our number one receiver. He's not going to be famous in the NFL. He's going to be famous in Tennessee because there's going to be a little bit of chemistry. He didn't do anything wrong other than miss the touchdown catch. He got held, and someone said there was a helmet-to-helmet. Look, he's earned another game, and I do believe he is a gamer. I believe because of his size, look at his face. The man was born probably being made fun of. He's an underdog, and your face is going to look like his punched in the mouth. Okay, whenever he gets done with you and he gets on this field more and more, I think we're going to see that slot receiver, those short passes, moving the chains. He is going to be effective for the Titans. He could be another Amendola or, one of those other small Patriots players that Tom Brady got 150% out of a guy that shouldn't even be out there.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Dustin. I appreciate the call. Can't really go deep into that like I'd want to just because we have to go to the break. But you're right. It's a lot of positives and a lot of negatives, but I feel like the positives outweigh the negatives, even if it is a loss. And maybe that's a loser mentality to have that, oh, it's a loss, but we look good doing it. But I just, knowing where this team is and knowing what they're capable of, which isn't much, I think playing well yesterday against one of the top NFC teams is a good thing for this franchise moving forward. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. When we come back, Vanderbilt, big game for them against Kentucky. Tennessee finally breaks the swamp voodoo against Florida. We'll get into all of that next. Plus, I'll issue my apology to Door Nation. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning is having a coat drive tomorrow from 3 to 6 at the Seven Cedars Butcher Block on the Lebanon Square. This will be collecting new or gently used coats and jackets and will go to Lebanon needy families. We'll step aside, come right back for hour number 2 right here on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, next man up here on 102.5, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Fun first hour of the show. Talked a lot of positives, talked some negatives about the Titans' loss yesterday to the Seahawks 30-24. Some positives to take away is the conclusion coming there. Let's transition over to the college landscape. Big win for Vanderbilt over the team I happen to root for. And I do have to issue an apology here momentarily. 45-17. Diego Pavia, 33 of 39 for 484, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Also had 15 carries for 48 yards and a touchdown. They just steamrolled Kentucky. It was never close. It seemed like it was 28-0 before anyone could say anything. It was bad for Kentucky. Very good for Vanderbilt. They've got all the momentum they need headed into Neyland, but very bad for Kentucky. And I will just say this. I, on Friday, said I felt that this game could be a trap game for Vanderbilt. And on paper, I felt it was. Kentucky was an unranked opponent. They were playing good football coming into Nashville, and Vanderbilt just blitzed them. So I was proven wrong. The text line is letting me have it, and maybe rightfully so. Apologies to Door Nation.
Pile on him, text line. Pile on him.
Apologies to Door Nation. Anchor down, I guess, is what I would like to say. But obviously, Vanderbilt has everything they need so far, or they've done everything right heading into the final week of the season. They need a little bit of help, but a win over Tennessee and a little bit of help will certainly, you would think, get them into the college football playoff. What do we think the odds are that they get said help? You need BYU to lose. You need a couple teams. You need Oklahoma to lose to LSU. You need a few teams in front of you to lose, and you also need to beat Tennessee. It's an uphill climb for Vanderbilt, but I think they're capable of doing it. After what I saw on Saturday, after what I've seen this season, Vanderbilt rises to the occasion. Now, sometimes they come up a little bit short. On the road at Alabama, they came up a little bit short. On the road at Texas, they came up a little bit short. But Vanderbilt, other than that, rises to the occasion. They have the win over LSU, which doesn't look as good now, but at the time, a ranked win. They have the win over Missouri, which doesn't look as good now, but at the time, a ranked win. They have the road win over South Carolina, which at the time was a ranked win, but doesn't look as good now. That said, they rise to the occasion. This isn't your granddad's Vanderbilt. This is a new Vanderbilt, and good on them, and they're a good team, and good for them. That said, can they rise to the occasion one more time and squeeze into the college football playoff? They're probably not going to host. I think we've kind of established that. If they make it, they're probably going to be on the road, but I think they're capable of rising to the occasion. Tennessee's coming off a lot of momentum too, and we'll get to them shortly, but Tennessee, although beating a 3-win Florida team, they beat a rival on the road, and you can't not give them credit for that. It was a good win for them. But Vanderbilt, I think, on paper, has more to play for than Tennessee. Actually, I know they do. Vanderbilt's playing for a college football playoff spot. Tennessee is playing for pride at this point. They're playing for the Cheez-It Bowl, whatever you want to put them in. Vanderbilt rose to the occasion against Kentucky, and I think this may lock Diego Pavia in New York with the stats that he put up in the season he's having and the way he elevates Vanderbilt in their play. Let's go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in, Dr. Locke. DL, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Nothing much.
Hey, you called me negative a couple calls ago. Man, you guys are, dogging out a little guy trying to carve out an NFL career, man. Shame on you. And you guys called me negative. Shame on you.
No, Dr. Locke, that was Friday.
You're our most positive caller, Dr. Locke. We would never.
I appreciate it. Hey, this is what I'm positive, fellas. give me a couple minutes and walk this out with me.
Sure.
You guys know that this week, you guys, if you want Vanderbilt in, you guys are Ohio State fans. You guys are 100% walking lockstep with Dr. Locke, baby.
That is true.
Because if Michigan wins, you can say goodbye to one of those precious middle-dwelling SEC teams. They gone and Michigan in. So, I know us top-heavy, back-to-back national championship, Big Ten conference.
There it is. There it is, Dr. Locke.
Hey, but you guys are walking lockstep with Dr. Locke, baby. OH.
I-O. Thank you, Dr. Locke.
You got it. See ya.
See ya. He's right. You're rooting for Ohio State this week. If Michigan wins, they are going to the Big Ten championship and probably getting into the college football playoff. So you're rooting for Ohio State this week.
Yeah, that's the thing that people haven't talked about. Michigan is lurking around with a 9-2 record. And for the past 4 years, we just assumed that Ohio State was going to beat Michigan, and that didn't happen. Ohio State won it all last year and buzzsawed everybody in the college football playoff, but they lost to Michigan before that. We didn't expect it. So we can't just rule out that Michigan is going to lose this game because we did that the last 4 years. But if they beat Ohio State, they have the tiebreaker, and they would face Indiana in the Big Ten championship game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's you're right. Not a lot of people are talking about that, and it seems weird to talk about because Michigan is a team we haven't really talked about all year. Have the loss to Oklahoma, struggled against Northwestern a few weeks ago. I don't think Michigan is that great of a college football team, if we're being completely honest. I would expect this game on Saturday in Ann Arbor to be close simply because it's a rival. And Ohio State, Michigan, no matter how bad each team is or how good each team is always a close game. I would pick Ohio State just because I think the offensive talent is absolutely stacked top to bottom. They have two of the best players in the country on defense, and I don't know if Bryce Underwood is ready for a game of this magnitude, even if it is at home. I'd pick Ohio State, but if you're Vanderbilt, you're watching this and also picking Ohio State because, you don't want to get stuffed in a locker for a Big Ten team that makes the Big Ten championship simply because they have a tiebreaker. Jeremy in Clarksville, Ohio State has been doing really well against the University of Michigan lately. I assume Jeremy is go blue. Yes, and that's something you got to factor into. Ohio State hasn't beaten Michigan in 2,000 days, 2,000 plus. Dave Portnoy reminds us of that every day. But I think if we're going strictly based off of roster and on paper, Ohio State has a much, much better roster than Michigan does. There's no question.
They had a better roster last year, too.
That is true. I'm just saying, on paper, comparison, Ohio State is better than Michigan. But I don't know. Michigan could come into this one and do it again.
Here's how Michigan wins. This is the exact same formula as last year. Michigan has one way that they beat Ohio State, and that is Michigan football through and through, run the football, play good defense, win in the line of scrimmage. If Ohio State gets, drug into playing that style of football, I could see Michigan winning this football game, especially considering it's in Ann Arbor. What Ohio State needs to rely on is they can run the football well with their true freshman. By the way, one of the greatest names in college football, Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
True freshman running back for Ohio State.
Yep.
They have the best defense in the country, I believe, with Matt Patricia and the schemes that he runs. But you hit those plays to Jeremiah Smith, if granted he's healthy, you hit those plays to Carnell Tate, Ohio State wins this football game.
Yeah, I mean, I know they played Rutgers the other day, but they were without both and still looked like a completely loaded top to bottom offense. So there's no shortage of receiver help on Ohio State. But you're right. If Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate are healthy, I would lean heavily towards Ohio State. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you're Vanderbilt, you are cheering for Ohio State this year to take out Michigan. Coming up next, we talked a little bit about Vanderbilt's big game against Kentucky. Diego Pavia may have shored himself up a spot in New York, and I want to hear from you. Do you agree that Diego Pavia may be a lock to New York after the game he had against Kentucky? We'll get to that next on the other side. Again, 615-737-1025 is the phone number right here on Next Man Up on 1025 The Game. One of the two front women in country music today, I would argue, of this next era.
Her and Ella Langley.
Yep, Lainey Wilson and Ella Langley.
Lainey Wilson's the front. I mean, she swept the CMA Awards the other night.
She's a queen. She's a literal queen. She's amazing. Welcome back in. Next Man Up here on 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman out. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly in with you today. Talking a little college ball. Vanderbilt dominates Kentucky. I know. I'm going to keep saying it. Dominates Kentucky 45-17. Diego Pavia, 33 of 39 for 484. 5 touchdowns and interception Also had 15 carries for 48 yards and a touchdown. And I think a performance like that, granted against a bad Kentucky team, who I thought would put up a little bit more of a fight, but regardless, a performance like that against an SEC team, and you look at the volume he's had all season and the performance he's had all season and the way he elevates Vanderbilt, I think that performance should earn him a spot in New York for the Heisman ceremony. That's just me, and I'm curious if you agree. 615-737-1025. I think a performance like that shores him up a spot in New York because, like Joe Dubin has been harping on, and I agree with him on this, the Heisman should be more about what kind of an impact you make for a team rather than just stat-based. Diego Pavia has made more of an impact for Vanderbilt than any quarterback across the nation has for their team. I don't think there's any argument in that. Diego Pavia and Jerry Kill and Clark Lee and what have you have transformed this Vanderbilt program into, a top SEC program. It's kind of crazy to still say, but it's true. Vanderbilt is a college football playoff contender. And like we've been talking about, if they go into Tennessee this week, get a win and have a little bit of help in BYU winning, and obviously Ohio State needs to beat Michigan, or BYU losing, Ohio State needs to beat Michigan. You need some other things to play in. Oklahoma needs to lose to LSU. You need some things to play into your favor. But I think for the first time in history, Vanderbilt football controls their own destiny to go to a playoff.
Control. I don't know.
Sort of.
Here's how I look at it. And hold on, talk for a second. Let me get this pulled up.
Okay. Well, Pavia deserves all the flowers, as Dustin in Hopkinsville literally just texts in as I say that. Pavia deserves the flowers. Maybe not control their own destiny is not the right thing to say. They need to win. They need a little bit of help. But I think what I'm trying to say is Vanderbilt has a legitimate shot to find their way into the college football playoff.
So here's I've been doing math over the weekend, and here's how it shakes out. So the CFP picture as of right now, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, all can be considered locks because even if they drop a game, they'll be 11-1. They'll play in their conference championship. Well, if Ohio State loses, they probably will not play. But
say those again. Ohio State,
Indiana, Texas A&M, all could be considered locks at this point.
I think you could throw Georgia in that conversation.
Likely locks. Hold on, there's another category.
Okay.
Likely locks is Georgia and Texas Tech.
Okay,
I'd say that they're in as well. AQs, so automatic qualifiers. You'll have your ACC champ, which Duke is not going to win the ACC, so we can kind of knock that scenario of the ACC missing out.
Yep.
The ACC champ will get in. It'll either be SMU, Virginia, or Pitt. The group of 5 will get their team in. So that's 7 spots that have already been taken up. Winning in, this is the bubble. Ole Miss, Oregon, and Oklahoma. Ole Miss plays at Mississippi State. Oregon's at Washington, and Oklahoma hosts LSU. I think all 3 of those teams will win. So that's 10. That's 10 spots. Win and likely in Notre Dame, who's playing at Stanford, and they just buzzsawed Syracuse, put up 70 on them, so I don't see a world in which they lose that game. And then Alabama, who plays at Auburn. Now, some tricky things have happened in Jordan-Hare, but that is your 12 spots right there. So on the outside looking in, you'll have BYU, Utah, Miami, Vanderbilt, and Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And if Michigan beats Ohio State and plays in the Big Ten championship game,
they're probably in.
They're probably in, and that takes a spot away from either a Notre Dame or an Alabama.
Yep. Yeah.
So Vanderbilt's going to need a lot of help. And honestly, I mean, you heard the intro. A 10-2 team should get in, and they should.
Right. But there's so
many teams out there.
In this new formula, there's so many factors that play into, you're 10-2, you should probably get in. It's about who beats who, right? And margin of victory is a thing. That's why they kind of ran the score up on Kentucky the other day, and rightfully so. But on the Diego Pavia Heisman front, and thank you to Scott for sending this in, of the 4 quarterbacks that are widely considered to be Heisman frontrunners, here are their stats. Fernando Mendoza, who is probably the frontrunner, 2,857 total yards, 73% completion, 2,641 yards rushing, passing 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 216 rushing, and 5 touchdowns. Marcel Reed, Texas A&M, 3,147 total yards, 61.8 completion percentage, 2,752 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 395 rushing yards, and 6 touchdowns. Julian Sayin for Ohio State, 2,832 total yards, 79.4 completion percentage. That leads the nation in completion percentage, at least, maybe not the nation, but at least of these 4. 2,832 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 20 rushes, no rushing touchdowns. 3,585 total yards for Diego Pavia. That leads the 4. 71.8% completion. 2,924 yards passing. That leads the 4 in that category. 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 661 rushing touchdowns. Wow, never mind. 661 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns. Those both lead the 4. So, Diego Pavia leads in 4 categories that I just listed there. I think he's got a major case. I really do.
If I'm a Heisman voter, and by the way, I will be campaigning for this until the day that I die.
Yep.
I'm not a Heisman voter, but I should be. I believe it with all my heart, but that's besides the point. Anyways, I believe there are 4 candidates right now worthy of being invited to New York. Fernando Mendoza is going to be one in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Diego Pavia,
Yep.
Absolutely, after what he's been able to do the last couple of games. Jeremiah Love,
yep,
best running back in the country
by
far. And then the 4th being, I'm blanking on it.
Oh,
quarterback.
Go ahead, find it.
Marcel Reed. Absolutely. I believe the Heisman committee loves those Heisman moments. I believe if Marcel Reed had a Heisman moment, it would be the South Carolina comeback.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're 11-0, and we're talking about most important to their team, Marcel Reed is definitely in the argument. But I don't believe there are many quarterbacks, if any at all, that could do at Vanderbilt what Diego Pavia has done.
615-737-1025. Do you believe Diego Pavia should be in New York when it's all said and done? There is a caveat, and I'll play devil's advocate on the other side. There's something that needs to happen for Diego Pavia to truly and fully have my support in being in New York. We'll get to that on the other side right here on Next Man Up. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly here with you on 102.5 The Game. Oh, yeah. This is like dual category right here.
I'm a man of the people, okay? They requested Dolly Parton. I'm going to play Dolly Parton.
Someone requested some Dolly. She is here. This fits country and White Girl Friday. So great job. And this is also my favorite Dolly song. Welcome back in. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly with you. We're talking about Diego Pavia. And should he be a Heisman lock? I just ran through his stats. And they are certainly Heisman worthy. There is a caveat to this. And I think something needs to happen for him, at least for me, to completely sure him up a spot in New York. He's got to beat Tennessee on Saturday. He has got to go into Neyland and beat Tennessee. Because a 9-3 team, granted, we've seen a Heisman winner from a 9-3 team before. We just saw it a couple years ago. It was Jaden Daniels. But Diego Pavia's argument right now is not because of his stats. Although he is leading in some categories, it's not because of his stats. His primary argument right now is what he has done for Vanderbilt. 2 years ago, Vanderbilt was a bottom-of-the-barrel SEC team. Today, Vanderbilt is in the upper echelon of the SEC. And it's just still astounding to say. And the reason for that being is what Diego Pavia and Clark Lee and Tim Beck have done, and Jerry Kill. They have transformed this offense. And Diego Pavia is the maestro of that. That is his main argument of being in the Heisman conversation, what he has done for Vanderbilt. He's got to beat Tennessee. He's got to come in and beat the Vols. If he beats Tennessee and doesn't get invited, then I will be upset. But I think he will. I think he will be invited to New York if he beats Tennessee. I said earlier in the program, Tennessee doesn't have a lot to play for but pride. And that is partially true because they're out of the college football playoff pretty much. You can lock that down. They're playing for the Cheez-It Bowl at this point. That said, this is a rivalry game on Saturday. They're coming into a hostile environment in Neyland Stadium. And they've been talking, Vanderbilt's been talking all season about how they're going to beat Tennessee and how football runs through Vanderbilt now and not Tennessee in the state. You don't think Tennessee's taken notice of that? You don't think Tennessee's taken the orange marker and circled the date on Saturday, ready for this one? Josh Heupel wants to end this season on a high note. He wants to end this season with some momentum and win and be 9-3 on the season in a year everyone thought, well, maybe they'll go 8-4, 7-5. Obviously, the expectations changed for Tennessee once they competed with Georgia and, came out of the Mississippi State game alive. The expectation was elevated. They were expected to make the college football playoff. We've had this discussion before. But now that the expectation has been lowered back down, they just want to end this season on a high note with some momentum. Vanderbilt is playing for everything right now. They are playing for a spot in the college football playoff. If they win and get the help they need, they are in. If they lose, it's all for nothing. If they lose, there's no chance with as much help as they need and the record they have that a 9-3 Vanderbilt is getting into the college football playoff. I think we can all agree on that. So if Diego Pavia wants to sure himself up a spot in New York, he's got to beat Tennessee, and he's got to do it with some good stats. He can't go in and beat Tennessee with 189 yards passing and 30 yards rushing and a touchdown and 2 picks. That's going to not help his case whatsoever. But if he goes in and has a game, he doesn't even have to have the game he had against Kentucky, in my opinion. If he has like a 250 passing, 2 touchdowns, no pick kind of game and wins, then I think he's in. I think he's in New York. I'm not saying he's going to go to New York and win the Heisman, but I think he'd have a good case to be in the conversation. He's got to win, though. And Heupel
got to win.
I don't want to say Heupel's coaching for his job because he's not. That's absolutely not true. But Heupel, like I said, wants to end this season with some momentum. And Tennessee, I'm not saying they're ready to fire Heupel, but you're having some fans that are getting a little bit restless. You're having some fans that are tired of being on the outskirts of contention and 9-3 is a good season, especially all things considered. They had to pivot to a completely different quarterback in the spring window. But that shouldn't be the expectation year in and year out for Tennessee. After the season they had in 22, the program should have been elevated. It should have been, they're going to be national contenders year in and year out, and it simply hasn't. They've been 10-2 and 9-3 every year since then. So the expectation needs to be elevated for Tennessee. That said, it starts on Saturday. If you can knock Vanderbilt, who is your rival, by the way, out of a college football playoff conversation, I think that will sure up some momentum heading into next year and is kind of bragging rights for you as you head towards the offseason. I realize they have a bowl game to play, but let's be honest, bowl games, if you're not in the college football playoff.
Oh, don't say this, Connor.
They're not as meaningful.
Don't say it.
I don't think they're completely meaningless.
Don't diss the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Connor.
They're not going to be in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. The Pop-Tarts Bowl is Big 12 ACC, right?
Yeah. It's I've already.
But it is America's game.
It is America's game. Super Bowl who? I'm watching the Pop-Tarts Bowl, okay? The Rose Bowl and the Pop-Tarts Bowl are my favorite bowl games.
Oh yeah.
Hands down.
The Rose Bowl is by far my favorite.
Rose Bowl, like
the pageantry.
Big Joe asked the other day, if you died and you'd want your ashes to be, where would you want your ashes to be buried? My answer would be, I want half my ashes in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
I've never been to California, but I love the Rose Bowl.
I love the Rose. I don't like, and they're moving away from it, which is good to me. I don't like that UCLA plays in the Rose Bowl because it takes away the pageantry of the stadium. UCLA is a trash program right now, and they're tainting the reputation of that stadium by playing in it. But they're moving to SoFi, so it's okay. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to get involved in the conversation. Brandon in Hermitage raises an interesting point. What if Pavia pops off, but Vanderbilt loses to Tennessee in a close one? Should he still be invited to New York? I think so. Like, if he has the kind of game he has against Kentucky, then I think he should be invited. But that said, if he loses, he's obviously out of the college football playoff. I would almost bank on the fact that he's not going to win the Heisman. He would be a fringe, like maybe the fourth guy invited to New York, if you were to ask me. That's what I think would happen. The committee, as we know, is unpredictable in both the college football playoff and the Heisman committee. So there's no telling what could happen, but I think he would be invited. He would just be kind of a fringe guy, if that makes sense, if he were to have a historical game of sorts.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I'm very staunch on my four. It's Mendoza, Pavia, Reed, Love. I feel like they've been the most outstanding. I really feel like the Ty Simpson's game against Oklahoma kind of knocked him out of it. Before that point, I absolutely would have included him in the four, but it's hard to argue with those guys. But I agree with you about Pavia. He needs to win in Knoxville in order to get an invitation, because there have only been 3 Heisman winners that have had 3 losses: Tebow, Lamar, and RG3. And Jane Daniels. Yeah. So that's 4. And I don't know if Diego Pavia is necessarily in that same company, but he needs to win in Knoxville.
And to your credit, Brandon, I think if Diego Pavia pops off, then Vanderbilt wins the game. I know we're playing a hypothetical right now. Let's say he does pop off, to use your words, and they lose the game. I know we're playing that hypothetical, but if Pavia pops off and has, as Dustin Hawkinsville texts in, his best game, I think Vanderbilt wins. I think it is hinging on the play of Diego Pavia. Like all of their games, it's hinging on the quarterback. I think it's hinging on the other side for Tennessee on how Joey Aguilar plays. So let's get into that matchup coming up next. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to get involved in the conversation. Who has more momentum heading into this game on Saturday? Vanderbilt, who just beat Kentucky 45-17, or Tennessee, who just knocked off Florida for the first time in about 22 years, 31-11. And we'll discuss that matchup a little bit as well. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll do that coming up next, right here on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. Oh, yeah. A white girl Broadway karaoke staple from Mrs. Underwood, Nashville legend. Welcome back in. Next Man Up. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly here with you. Jake Lyman out today. He is calling Vanderbilt women's basketball over on 94.9 The Fan. A bit of breaking news to give to you on the MTSU front. MTSU head football coach Derek Mason will return for the 2026 season. That is per Cecil Joyce. So there you go. Derek Mason running it back for year 3 over for the Blue Raiders. We are discussing Vanderbilt versus Tennessee this week. Who has more momentum going into this one? Vanderbilt, who just took out Kentucky 45-17, and Diego Pavia put on a historic quarterback performance, or Tennessee, who just beat maybe the worst Florida team in 25 years. But regardless, they break the streak in the swamp. First time since 2003 that they beat Florida in Gainesville. And look, Joey Aguilar played well. He looked very poised. The play calling was phenomenal for Tennessee in the first half, and then it kind of trailed off in the second half. But where was this Tennessee earlier in the year? Why did they not put pedal to the metal against some of these teams that they could have beat? Georgia is an outlier, but the Oklahoma game is what comes to mind for me. Regardless, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, both riding momentum heading into Neyland on Saturday. It just seems like, a battle of momentum. Who's got it more? Who wants it more? Vanderbilt, who's playing for a spot in the college football playoff, or Tennessee, who's trying to knock Vanderbilt out of college football playoff contention? Let's go to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Scott to the program. Good morning, Scott.
Hey, good morning. Great show, guys, as always.
Thank you.
I just, Tennessee, they beat a terrible Florida team. Yeah, they run up 31 points in the first half, but what does it say for them when they don't have enough confidence to keep on trying to get it? And I hear
I think we
It
lost.
appears we lost Scott.
I think we lost Scott there.
It sounded like he was coming to us from Cambodia.
You've been hanging out with George too much.
I have.
Yeah, he's rubbing off on you. But I think I know where he was going there, in that Tennessee's defense, he doesn't feel can compete with Vanderbilt's offense. And maybe that's true. But I think Tennessee and Vanderbilt are very comparable teams. I think Vanderbilt might be the better team, but they're very comparable in that they both have great offensive weapons and good defenses, but Tennessee's defense tends to struggle a little bit more than Vanderbilt's. I truly think this is a battle of momentum. This is going to be who's going to ride the momentum coming off big weeks more. I think Vanderbilt has more to play for than Tennessee, but that's not to say Tennessee doesn't have anything to play for. They want to finish the season on a high note, the regular season that is, and then go to at least a better bowl game. Vandy is playing for college football playoff contention, so that's going to fuel them. 615-737-1025. Let's get to some of your texts. Parker on the text line, not Parker Kelly, says Vandy didn't score an offensive touchdown till the fourth quarter last year, and Pavia had barely 100 yards. This is in reference to the Tennessee game last year, of course. With all that trash he's talked and the fact that it's at Neyland, the kid's going to get humbled again, in all caps. Bye-bye, New York. Maybe so. That's another factor that plays into this. Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt have talked a lot about Tennessee. He went on Bussin' with the Boys with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton and said the state of Tennessee runs through Vanderbilt football now. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with him, but he has talked a lot. You don't think Tennessee has taken the orange marker and circled the date Saturday, November 29th and looked for that and waited all season for that, similar to what Alabama did? Alabama took that date, circled it on Vanderbilt, and came out victorious. You don't think Tennessee's done the same thing?
Oh, Josh Heupel, I know for a fact, has done that.
Absolutely.
Because Josh Heupel is about as competitive as they come. He won't say anything that'll give any type of bulletin board material to Vanderbilt throughout the week, but he'll be ready to go.
Right. Justin Greenbrier says Vandy's defense need to show up early against UT, and I feel like Pavia and that offense should be able to capitalize against the Vols defense. Agree there. I think the Vols defense, although dwindled, missing probably their two top corners in the secondary, is still a good defense. Vanderbilt, I think, just has the offense to be able to over-capitalize on that, and that's going to be the tale. It's hinging on the play of the quarterbacks. It's hinging on how Diego Pavia plays. If he throws up a stinker, which I don't think he's going to, but it could happen, then I don't think Vanderbilt has a chance. Same thing for Tennessee. Joey Aguilar is App State Joey Aguilar, then Tennessee is going to struggle. That's just how I feel about that. Brandon and Hermitage. Yeah, UT fans, let's talk about last year. I mean, Tennessee came out and won that game. So
Here's what I will say. The fan base has been stewing on this for a while too. They remember what Pavia said on Bussin' with the Boys. You're in Neyland, I guarantee it's going to be sold out.
oh yeah.
And home field environments,
I
home
think it
field
already-
advantages.
Did Danny White already confirmed it's sold out?
I'll have to double check, but I'd be willing to bet that it is
If it
going
isn't,
to be
it
sold
will.
out. The fan base is going to be loud. And just because Tennessee is out of the college football playoff picture, they still have everything to play for, and they would love nothing more than to end Vanderbilt's season right there in Neyland Stadium.
Yeah. Philip in Murfreesboro says Pavia on one leg in that Tennessee game last year. I love that Vol fans believe he's the same guy they got last year.
He's not.
He's not.
He's a different player. He's upgraded.
And he was banged up in that game last year. Let's not sugarcoat it. He was banged up. He's not this year, and he's playing on a completely different level than he was last year. I love that we're the mediator here of stirring up some Vol Vandy hate. It's everything I wanted and more. Jeremy in Clarksville, the Vols are set up for another typical Tennessee letdown. Maybe so. I just think it's going to be a battle of momentum, right? I think whoever comes out and puts up points early is going to be able to win. Because I just think, I don't know if Tennessee's defense is able to stop Vanderbilt's offense.
Well, Tennessee's been known for getting off to hot starts. I think they're first in the country in first quarter scoring or something along the lines of that. But will they be able to maintain that throughout the game? That's
Right.
what bit them against Georgia. That's what bit them against,
Oklahoma.
obviously they beat Florida,
Yeah.
but they scored 31 points in the first half. So will you be able to maintain that? And because Vanderbilt, they play 4 quarters of football. They did that against Auburn and extra. And Pavia wanted to stay in the Kentucky game in the fourth quarter. If you saw that, I don't know if you saw that
so did
video
his mom.
floating around on Twitter. Of course yeah. I don't know if you saw that video floating around on Twitter of Clark Lee having to tell Diego Pavia no to going back into the game on Saturday. But they want to play 4 quarters of football, so Tennessee has to do that as well.
And some of that on Saturday was, let's pile up as many points as we can because we're trying to squeeze into the college football playoff. And maybe if we do, margin of victory will give us a nod over some other team trying to get into the field. That's some of that. That's not an excuse. That's just what happened. But you're right. It's about playing 4 quarters of team football. And if you were to ask me, I think Vanderbilt is more inclined to do that than Tennessee is. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to get involved in the conversation. Our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll step aside, come back in the final hour of the program, get back into the Titans. There was another positive trend in the direction of the Tennessee Titans, and it comes from the coaching staff. Mike McCoy seemed a lot more aggressive yesterday, didn't he? Is that going to be a common trend for the remainder of the season? We'll get into that coming up next. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly here with you on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. Final hour, next man up. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Fun second hour. Talked a lot of college football. Vanderbilt and Tennessee in Neyland Stadium on Saturday. A lot riding on that one. Vanderbilt playing for college football playoff hopes. Tennessee looking to knock them out of said hopes. So that one should be interesting, and we'll keep you updated on that one throughout the week. Let's transition back into the Tennessee Titans. Of course, they lose to the Seattle Seahawks at home yesterday, 30-24. A lot of positives to take from a loss. I realize that might be a loser mentality and being complacent with losing, but if you look at where this team is and the kind of roster they have, I'll take a close loss to one of the best SEC, NFC teams in the NFL. There was a positive trend I saw yesterday, and that comes from the coaching staff. Mike McCoy seemed a little bit more aggressive, did he not? Mike McCoy went for it like twice on fourth down. Didn't get one of them because he handed the ball off to Julius Chestnut, of all people, and the running game continues to just be a problem altogether for the Titans. But why are we handing the ball to Julius Chestnut, who's like not even a top 10 skill player on the Titans roster? That's a whole separate argument. But he didn't get one, went for another. Cam Ward got one with his legs, and he was a lot more aggressive. He wasn't punting on 4th and 1 from their own 35 or from the Seahawks 35. And I'm giving credit where credit is due. I don't think Mike McCoy is going to be the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans, and nor would I be happy with it. But credit where credit is due. He went for it. My question is, why is he not doing this more when he has quite literally nothing to lose? And he was asked about this. Mike McCoy yesterday was asked about his more aggressive style of play calling and how that impacted the game. Here's what he had to say. So he went after Paul Kaharski right there, if you were paying attention. Now, you were the first person I thought of, Paul. That was for you. We did that for you. He was obviously joking, but maybe there was a little bit of seriousness behind that. Anyways, Mike McCoy being more aggressive is good for the remainder of this team the remainder of the season, because quite honestly, what else do you have to lose? You're 1-10. You're not going to compete for a division. You're sure as hell not going to compete for a playoff spot. At this point, yesterday's result is exactly what you want to see from the Titans. Lose close. You want to see progress from your young players, and you saw that yesterday from Cam Ward and Chim Dike and Gunnar Helm and Kevin Winston and a few others. But you also don't want to ruin the opportunity to get better in the draft, to get a high pick and fill a need that you absolutely need, whether that be receiver or defensive end or corner or whatever. Regardless of where they draft, they're going to pick high, and they're going to pick at a premium spot in the NFL. So that is exactly what you want to see. That said, you want to see Mike McCoy be more aggressive, because what do they have to lose? If you don't get it, you don't get it. That's just part of it. And he didn't get one yesterday with Julius Chestnut. But it's nice to see a little bit of aggressiveness from Mike McCoy. It's nice to see that he's listening to some of the feedback, because what was the number one knock on Mike McCoy? He is not aggressive. In fact, he's more conservative than Brian Callahan was. It's nice to see that he is kind of, I don't want to say figuring things out. They still lost the game, but he's kind of adjusting some things, for lack of a better term.
But the team looked competitive, at least after the Seahawks got off to a 30-10 lead.
Right.
Team looked competitive, and they went for it on fourth down, which was, you should have been doing that earlier, but they went for it a lot, Dan Campbell style.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially with a team this bad. What the hell do you have to lose? It's nice to see that. My worry is that
5 for 7 on 4th down.
Yeah, there you go. I'm surprised they went for it 7 times. There you go.
They went for it, or they went from not going for it at all to going for it 7 times.
Congratulations to Mike McCoy.
I guess Paul really got in their heads.
Yeah. Congratulations to Paul Kaharski. I don't know what you did, but whatever it is, it worked. My worry is that the Titans brass is going to look at this and be like, oh, wow, he's really improving. Let's give him an opportunity at the head coaching position, which is such an outside scenario. It's not going to happen, but it is a very Titans thing to think about, isn't it? That the Titans just decide, oh, Mike McCoy, he's showing some production. If we give him a couple more, another season, we can develop him into a all NFL level coach. Wouldn't that be something? And it's just not going to happen. It's not going to, and I shouldn't be worried about it. Imagine troubles, as Big Joe and Chase tell me, but it is, there's an outside worry of mine that I have. That's my biggest fear. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Dustin in Hopkinsville says, I can't put my finger on it. He's not dumb. They do it against teams we aren't supposed to beat. It's almost like he was promised the world by Amy to be conservative and run Pollard up the middle to naturally tank. Look at where he gets aggressive. Yeah, and running the ball, again, has been a big problem for the Titans. When Cam Ward has more rushing yards than all 3 of your running backs combined.
He led the team yesterday with 37 yards.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a big problem. Tajay Spears, I think, had 4 carries for 3 yards. Tony Pollard had like 10 for 27 or something like that. I don't have the stats in front of me, but it was around that area. Cam Ward leading the team in rushing is a problem. And not that he's not capable of rolling outside of the pocket and getting some yards on the ground. I'm completely fine with that if that's what he wants to do. But this isn't the Buffalo Bills. This isn't Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. This isn't a quarterback that can use his legs just as effectively as he can use his arms. No, you need I don't even want to say dynamic. You need solid running play, and the Titans didn't have that, and they haven't had that all season. So that continues to be an issue for the Titans. But as far as Mike McCoy, I'm credit where credit is due. He actually coached pretty decently yesterday. Obviously, you can't control much of what the defense actually does on the field. They didn't play well, but they were down 30-3. And Mike McCoy somehow willed this team, with a little bit of help from Cam Ward, to covering. I don't think they care about the covering.
They covered the spread.
That is 3 straight covers for your Tennessee Titans. I don't think they cared about covering the spread. I honestly probably don't even think they know what the spread was. But I use that term because that means they lost close. They exceeded expectations. Seattle was favored to win by 8.5. The Titans lost by 7. So you take what you can get, I guess. It's the small victories. Mike McCoy being aggressive is a positive trend towards the rest of the season because it shows that they're just trying things out. They've got nothing left to play for. So why not? Why not see what you can get on a 4th and 1? Why not throw the ball down the field on 4th and 1? Or run the ball up the middle with Julius Chestnut, which has proven time and time again to be ineffective, and yet here we are. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Cam Ward played his best game yet. I think we've established that. 28 for 42 for 256 and a touchdown. Also 6 carries for 37 yards and a touchdown. How important is it to see that from your franchise quarterback, your number 1 overall pick, that he's showing some progression and showing some development? We'll get to that next. Coming up right here on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. There you go. That was Mike McCoy yesterday talking about Cam Ward's play and how he thought he played incredibly. I tend to agree with Mr. Mike McCoy there. Cam Ward yesterday, 28 of 42 for 256 yards, a passing touchdown, and also 6 carries for 37 yards and a rushing touchdown. Led the team in rushing yards, which is probably not a good thing, as you used 3 running backs and neither one of them cracked 30 yards. Probably not a good thing. But Cam Ward, in my opinion, and to the opinion of many, played his best game in two-tone blue yesterday against the Seattle Seahawks. He showed major signs of progression to me. He showed signs that he's understanding the offense, that he's capable to check in and out of plays and do it effectively, that he's capable of making a nice read and even capable of scrambling outside of the pocket and improvising a little bit and still getting the ball downfield to an open receiver as he did with Xavier Restrepo. So I ask you, Parker, and I ask all of our listeners, again, 615-737-1025, how important is it to see this from Cam Ward, not just against any team, but against a good defense, against a good NFC team in the Seahawks, a defense that I don't think is as good as the Legion of Boom was 10 years ago, but is trending in that direction, is a really good team capable of winning that NFC West division. How important is it to see Cam Ward, I don't want to say dominate, but thrive against a good defense?
It's very encouraging. It goes to show why this organization had the belief in him being the first overall pick. And you knew when Mike McDonald got to Seattle that they were going to have a top 5 caliber defense, and they absolutely do. And it's important to remember that with Cam Ward, the run game has been basically non-existent. They are solely reliant on the passing game. This Titans team does not have an identity like they did a few years ago when Derrick Henry was here. You're down your top 2-3 wide receivers. You're relying on an undrafted guy in Xavier Restrepo to come in the second half and provide a spark. So this rests solely on the shoulders of Cam Ward, and that is not a load that you want your rookie quarterback to have. But I thought he played his best game as a Tennessee Titan yesterday. I thought we saw him get the ball out of his hands quickly, which has been a theme consistently throughout the year. He didn't turn the football over. He made plays with his legs instead of running to throw.
Mm-hmm.
He ran to run, so which is exactly what you want to see. And he picked up some first downs. There were a couple more times where I believe the shovel to Julius Chestnut, if you would have just taken off, you probably would have gotten further than Julius Chestnut did when you were trying to make a play. So I believe there are spots to clean up, but when you don't have a run game, there's no threat with play action. So it's straight drop back, and the defense knows exactly what you're doing. So based on his performance yesterday, it was hands down one of the better performances by Cam Ward as a Tennessee Titan.
Yeah, hands down one of the better, I would argue the best so far. 615-737-1025. Wes in Clarksville says, I wonder how much effort the coaches are giving knowing they're about to lose their jobs. That's kind of the argument, right? If you're talking on Mike McCoy's aggressiveness, that's kind of my argument. You know you're about to lose your job. Why not just go all in and be more aggressive? You're an interim, right? There's no reason for you to be punting on 4th and 1 inside the opposition zone. It's not effective for this team. It's not effective for a game situation. It's not effective for your standing as interim coach. And they're not going to fire an interim coach. I don't even think you can do that. But he's going to finish the year out, and then they'll cut him loose. We'll never see Mike McCoy again. You're not going to get out of him what you can't get out of an established coach that is currently unemployed, like Mike McCarthy, or if you want to go the employed route, Matt Nagy, or someone like that. Mike McCoy's days are numbered. As soon as week 18 hits and the final on that hits, he's gone. There's no sense in keeping him around. Dustin in Hopkinsville bringing up something on Xavier Restrepo. Let's see if I can get it up because it's a little bit further back. Okay. Let's see.
This is phenomenal radio.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. Basically, what he said was Xavier Restrepo had himself a decent game. I don't want to say good game because he didn't do anything otherworldly. 2 catches for 26 yards. What he's trying to say is Restrepo is on the map now, which he's wondering if we put him back on the practice. I did the thing. If the Titans put him back on the practice squad, is it a risk to be picked up by someone else? Here it is. It worries me that there's chemistry with Cam. If he could be a good slot receiver, reliable on short check down gains, a good tool for us. We could get other better slot receivers in the draft or free agency. But man, my heart wants him here. I think he can be productive here, enough here, and a good role-playing receiver. I don't think it's something to worry about, really. 2 catches for 26 yards. That doesn't just jump out on the page at any team. Were teams watching? I'm sure, because it ends up on film. But what Xavier Restrepo did out there, and we're getting back into the strep hole, he didn't do anything remarkable. He didn't do anything otherworldly. He made 2 wide open catches, and one of them was because Cam Ward adjusted. The other one was Seattle was playing zone, and he just streaked across the middle and happened to be open. He should have had a touchdown, but he dropped it.
Well, I don't know if that was a tough catch. The second one, that where he got stopped short of the goal line.
Yeah,
if he would have gotten in, could you imagine the reaction today?
Chase put it perfectly yesterday. The stadium would have popped like McNair throwing to Dyson back in like 2002. But on Restrepo, to kind of wrap this thing up on the Restrepo talk, because I'm kind of done with it. He didn't do anything astronomical. I don't think he's good. It's on film, obviously, and everything that a player and a coach does is on film. But I don't think anything he did is going to jump out at, Kansas City and say, oh my God, Xavier Restrepo could get us into the playoffs. That's not how that works. Adam in Portland says, I just need to see Cam continue to protect himself and learn these receivers. He looks smarter every week into his decision-making. We will probably suck next year, but hopefully it looks a lot better. I'm hoping we are competing for a playoff spot in 2027 in our new stadium. Yeah, so is Amy Adams Strunk, right? That's kind of what she harps on, is we're going to be competitive when this new stadium opens. That sounded like, Jerry Jones. But you're right. Cam Ward is developing. He just needs to have more pocket awareness and more awareness of what's going on downfield, but his decision-making is becoming a lot better. He looks more comfortable in an NFL offense, and maybe that's because he has 11 games under his belt now as opposed to 3. But he looks a lot more developed. He's obviously not a finished product. There's a lot of work to do there, and there's going to continue to be a lot of work there to get him to where he's supposed to be. But you're right. Cam Ward is developing, and he looks good. Ricky is bringing me back into the strep talk. We can admit he's a better option than Kinsey. I'll agree with that. I think he's a better option to bring up on the practice squad than Mason Kinsey, because I think he has a little bit more upside. We know exactly what Mason Kinsey is. We think we know what Restrepo is. We're just not sure. But I can agree to that. I think Xavier Restrepo is a better option to bring up than Mason Kinsey because of the connection, because of the aspect that they're friends and they've played together long enough, and there's a connection. I'm just not, wildly overboard for Xavier Restrepo. Brendan and Hermitage. The Titans played very well, and we know how bad this team is. Let's enjoy the small step forward. Agreed. That's why we're harping on kind of the positive things here. Mike McCoy's more aggressive. Cam Ward played his best game as a Titan and is showing signs of development. Kevin Winston played well. Chim Dike played well. You had a lot of pieces that played well, and it sounds like we're celebrating a loss here, and it is maybe a loser mentality, but Titans fans like myself and like the audience are numb to these losses now. So any sign we see of something good happening in the Titans' direction, we jump on it. So I'm here to celebrate that today. Not that we're taking moral victories and hanging the moral banner, but there were good things that happened today. And for a team this bad and a team that you don't expect to win many games from here on out, it's something to celebrate. It is certainly something to celebrate. So I ask you fans, how do you feel about the hope that the positive things that happened today or yesterday for the Titans, how much hope does that instill for you? What does that make your mind up for the Titans moving forward? How do you feel about the Titans, not just this season, but for the core pieces and beyond? Cam Ward, Chim, Dike, Kevin Winston. How do you feel about these core pieces moving on? We'll get to that on the other side right here on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. 30 more minutes here on Next Man Up. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly here with you. Sleeping like a baby. Oh, what is this? I Never Lie.
I never lie.
Yeah, Zach Top. Good stuff. Country Mondays, I think, should be a staple here on the pro.
I proposed the idea.
This isn't my program, but I
guess we'll leave it up to the listeners and the callers. I proposed it just as a one-time deal, but if you wanted to stick around, I'm a man of the people.
Well, it's not my program, but I would if it were my program, I'd like Country Mondays. We're discussing the positives of the Titans and how those move forward towards the future. Cam Ward in particular, but you have you have pieces that are trending in a right direction. Chim, Dike, Kevin Winston. Adam in Portland points out Peter Skoronski. Peter Skoronski is the Titans' best offensive lineman this year, by far. He's playing at a Pro Bowl level, and I don't think there's any arguing that. Adam in Portland says, let's see, I agree with you, but Cam is also doing this with 4 completely trash offensive linemen. Latham is a bust. Cushenberry sucks and stays hurt. Dan Moore is as advertised as a left tackle, and Kevin Zeitler may be worse than Jalen Duncan. I agree with you on 3 of the 4. Latham is not playing well right now. I think we can all agree on that. There is no argument there. I would not label him a bust just yet. He's still a second-year guy on a trash offense playing along, as you said, trash offensive lineman. Cushenberry,
if he didn't have the penalty problem,
yeah,
I think he would
that's his problem.
Yeah.
That's his problem. And I think his work ethic has kind of trailed off a little bit from everything we've heard going on in practice. Jeffrey Simmons stays on him, and he should. Jeffrey Simmons is a leader of this team. But to your point, Adam, Cushenberry is not playing well, and he stays hurt. Dan Moore is exactly what you expected Dan Moore to be coming out of Pittsburgh. He's not bad, but he's not good, if that makes sense. And Kevin Zeitler is just completely washed. So you're right. He's doing this with a better offensive line than they had last year, but still not a good one. Justin Greenbrier, the positives are definitely this rookie class. The defense and veteran players have just underperformed, at least yesterday they did. The Titans will be astronomically stupid to not bring back Bones Fossil. But what about Denard Wilson? Should they bring him back with how up and down this defense has performed? To Denard Wilson's credit, he cannot turn water into wine. He is not Jesus. Jesus is the only man in history that could do that. But if there was one coach on this entire staff that I would consider bringing back, not named Bones Fossil, it would be Denard Wilson, because I think he's smart defensively. I think if he had the right tools and the right guys in his defense, he would be having a lot better results. I think he's a smart enough defensive coordinator that he would do well somewhere else. But right here, right now, I don't think he's going to be retained just because I think they want a completely fresh slate. Now, I agree with you. They would be stupid to not bring back Bones Fossil because this is the best the special teams has been in years and years and years for the Titans. But as far as Denard Wilson, I would be okay if they brought him back. But I think whoever the new coach is going to come in here and bring in his own guys. Wes in Clarksville says, I have no hope for the Titans until they announce a new coach. You're right. Yeah, we're in wait and see mode, right? It's what coach is going to help develop Cam Ward. Brian Callahan was obviously not the answer. I think he was more of a detriment to Cam Ward than a help. Mike McCoy is not the answer because he's just the interim filling a void, and he's going to be gone after week 18 anyway. So whoever they bring in here, it is of the utmost importance that they develop Cam Ward. It's going to be probably their primary thing that they're going to be looked back on when they take the Titans job. Did Mike McCarthy help develop Cam Ward? Did Matt Nagy help develop Cam Ward? It's that's going to be the number one thing. Adam in Portland says, answer me this though, Connor. If we are stuck to pick at number 1, who are you taking, and does that person change our defense? Without getting into the draft talk, I think you've got to fill a hole. and you're going to have to regardless. Ruben Bain, I think, is someone that a lot of people are looking at just because of his dynamic. And Parker, you can talk a lot about Ruben Bain as well, knowing as much about college football as you do. But Ruben Bain, I think, is kind of the number one edge rusher if you want to go the defensive route. I think on defense in the secondary, you can look at maybe Caleb Downs. But if I were the Titans, I would probably go receiver.
So many needs.
There's so many needs. So,
it's so hard to pinpoint exactly where they should go. Just take the best available player on the board. I'll be happy.
Right. Jordan Tyson comes to mind out of Arizona State. Watching him Saturday, I really like Malachi Lemon out of USC.
Oh, dude, that's my draft. That's my early draft crush.
Really,
Makai Lemon. We need to come up with a saying for that last name, because we could print so many T-shirts if the Titans draft Makai Lemon.
I think at number one he would obviously be an extreme reach, but if I'm the Titans, and we're straying into the draft talk, and I hate it that we're doing it in November, but if I'm the Titans, I look to shop this year and get a haul. Don't fall out of the top 5 or 6, but get a haul, get picks going, moving forward, and see what you can get in the top 6. I think regardless of who you take, you're going to need to fill a hole. But to answer your question, if the Titans are picking number 1, you're asking about coaching. If the Titans are picking number 1 and you want to coach, I think Mike McCarthy is probably the move. Jim Schwartz, I think, is a good point Adam brings up. He beat the Titans' butts. We could interview him I think I would like him more as a defensive coordinator, especially if like Arthur Smith were to take this job. But yes, I think regardless of who comes in here, you need a competent defensive coordinator. 3337. Cam is also doing this with at best number 4 receivers on any other team and no run game. Agree with you there. Chim Dike maybe be a 2 or a 3, but everyone else is probably a 4. Ben says, I do think there's a small percentage of the defense looking better than it is because the other team can play conservatively, knowing that the Titans offense is not going to score. Yeah, but they kind of proved that wrong for once yesterday, right? The Seahawks started playing a little bit more conservative in the second half and allowed the Titans to open up the playbook and, cover. I think I said earlier it was an 8.5 point spread. It was actually 12.5. So thank you to the texter there. Even better, you covered a 12.5 spread. That's almost a 2 touchdown spread. Chip from Mount Juliet says we should call Makai Lemon the lemon drop if he comes here. That would only work if he drops passes. Chase from White Bluff.
The lemon drop. I don't know if I can get with that.
We'll workshop it. We'll get there. Chase from White Bluff says the Titans should sign Jameis Winston as their running back / Wildcat QB.
I was for signing him as the backup quarterback
in the
preseason because I don't even care what he contributes on the field.
He is referring
that dude is hilarious.
Well, did you see his play yesterday?
I did. I saw both of them.
It was ridiculous.
I saw they ran 2 flea flickers yesterday. One was a passing touchdown to your boy, Wan'Dale Robinson.
Wan'Dale, he got me 30
and the
points
other
yesterday.
Was his touchdown catch, which might go down as the play of the year.
Wan'Dale got me 30 fantasy points yesterday.
He was sitting on my bench.
He's a keeper league, so hopefully with the receiver room of Wan'Dale Robinson and what's wrong with me?
I can't help you out. I don't know your fantasy team.
No, I'm talking about the Giants.
Jalen Hyatt?
Malik Neighbors.
Well, he's hurt.
Well, obviously. Yeah. I'm talking about the future. With a receiving room like that, they are Super Bowl bound. I'm just kidding. Let's see here. 3337. We have played a lot of really good defenses so far this year. Most will be in the playoffs. Yes, you're right. The Broncos are a good defense. The Rams are a really good defense. As you saw last night, the Rams, they need to be Super Bowl favorites at this point.
Seriously. Hands Stafford the MVP trophy now.
He had 3 touchdown passes last night.
Yep. So, and he hasn't thrown an interception in 6 games.
That puts him at 30 passing touchdown to 2.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Insane ratio.
Devontae Adams is playing high-level football. Puka Nacua is one of the brightest young receivers in the league. And then their defense, they have Jared Verse and a couple of other pieces there.
Byron Young,
Colby
Turner,
Colby Turner,
Braden Fisk.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to believe that defense is as good as it is without Aaron Donald on it.
It might have gotten better,
but it may have gotten
which
better,
is insane.
They're
so good at drafting. That's why.
Well, they have by far the best coach in the NFL,
and all of their guys are young, so they're relatively inexpensive.
I mean, the only thing they're going to have to look at in the next few years is the quarterback, because Stafford is 38 playing at this level. I would imagine he has 1 to 2 more years left in him before.
They may keep him around for 2-3 more years, but it will. I mean, there was talk they might try to go after Jackson Dart in the draft, but we'll see.
I mean, they could totally go the Jordan Love route. I would trust Sean McVay to develop a quarterback, but you're right. The Rams are a good defense, and the Titans have played a lot of good defenses. Broncos, Rams, Seahawks. The Colts are a good defense.
I don't know if you read Paul Kaharski's article.
Texans.
But the Titans have had arguably one of the toughest schedules in the entire NFL.
For a fourth-place schedule.
Yeah, that's not to say that the Titans still wouldn't lose most of their games. They would, but the schedule doesn't make things any easier.
Which is hilarious because you compare the Titans' schedule to the Patriots' schedule, which is also a fourth-place schedule, and it doesn't seem the same. Like, obviously, the Patriots play the Bucks and the Bills because they're in that division, but Patriots played a Joe Burrow-less Bengals team yesterday and barely won. So they're a good team. They beat the Titans.
Joe Flacco might have thrown one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen for somebody that's been in the league as long as he has.
He's got to hang it up. He's fine, but as soon as Burrow is back, he's gone. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Last call for your calls and texts on the Tennessee Titans. We'll wrap things up coming up next right here on Next Man Up on 1025 The Game. Oh, what a phenomenal song to wrap us up here. Because it's relatable.
It is.
One day I'll fall in
We
love.
won't get into it.
I mean, I could spend a whole 3-hour show on my love life if you wanted to, and how sad it is.
I don't think you need to open yourself up to any more criticism after your Vanderbilt, Kentucky.
Welcome back in. Final segment here on this Monday morning, Reaction Monday, coming up next for those other two talentless losers that come on behind me. But wrapping things up here, kind of just talking about the outlook of the Titans. Are there any positives that you took away from yesterday that you think could continue to trend into the direction heading into years to come? Our good friend Keegan has called back on our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Keegan, what's up?
Hey, not much, fellas. Hope you are doing all right. I was just watching the game yesterday, and this might be something that only I took from it. But I don't know. While I was watching it, it just seemed at some point during the second half, it just seemed like something had changed for the Titans team. I'm not saying necessarily the coaching staff or an office, but just the players on the field. In my mind, the best way I can kind of think about it is you're watching a documentary. It gets to the point where the narrator's like, oh, and at this point, this person's life changed or something changed for this person, group, whatever. And I don't know. To me, yesterday, it kind of felt like we were at that point where if you go back and you look at the Arizona win, that was just a total fluke. The interception turned fumble, turned touchdown. That should have never happened. You take that a win, we don't have any wins. But yesterday, on the flip side, you saw more of an actual fight. You saw more of what seemed to be kind of an organized team coming together as one and putting a fight together. Now, obviously, some of these guys won't be around going on next year and future years. The coaching staff won't be around. But that's why I say to the players on the field specifically, it seemed like watching them yesterday, something had changed to this point where going forward, we might just get waxed next week. And, what I'm saying don't matter at all. But at the same time, going forward, we can go out there and play really hard and kind of keep it a close game again, maybe put a couple close games, couple moral victories on top of one another, and you're getting closer to getting that real victory for once. And it just seemed to me like the team, the guys, Jimmys and Joes, they bought in, they came out and they played together. And like Big Jeff was saying, to a sense, they kind of played complementary football to a little smaller extent than everybody would obviously want for a successful team. But I don't know, in my opinion, it just seemed like something was different about that team yesterday that might impact them in a very positive way going forward. And that's all I got for you, fellas.
Thank you, Keegan. Yeah, I appreciate the call. I think you're right to some standpoint. Maybe this is a turning point for the Titans. I don't think it happens this season. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this team is not good. We can keep talking about moral victories, and today is certainly a moral victory. That said, I don't want to live off just moral victories. I want to get to a point where we're talking about actual victories. And that's kind of where this conversation has taken us to is, do the Titans have the key pieces right now that they can use to build upon? And I think they do have some. I think Cam Ward is going to be a huge piece moving forward, obviously. Peter Skoronski is playing Pro Bowl level football right now. Chim Dike is playing great football. Kevin Winston is going to be important for the safety room. You've got a lot of pieces moving forward that I think you're hoping are going to cash. The other thing is you've got pieces that you hope will build, and some of them have proven better than others. J.C. Latham, I think, is going to be capable of playing good football. He's got to cut down on the penalties, and he's got to get his work ethic back up. A guy that we have just completely forgotten about because he's on IR, but Femi Oladejo is an important piece for the future because that's a second-round pick, and that's a high-quality pick. They used it on a developmental edge, and it hasn't paid off for them so far. So you're going to have to see some investment into Femi Oladejo. Can he hit the quarterback? Right now, it doesn't seem like it. So you're going to have to hope for the best that he tends to stick. I'm not there yet. But moral victories are moral victories. Maybe a loser mentality to have. And the Titans are losers. They're 1-10 on the season. But today doesn't feel as bad as other losses have. There were positives to take away from. We've spent all day talking about Cam Ward's play, and Mike McCoy looked more aggressive. And some of you strep heads are ready to rush Xavier Restrepo to Canton, Ohio, for his 2-catch, 26-yard performance. If that makes you happy, go for it. But Cam Ward was the story yesterday. Mike McCoy played aggressive, which is good because he's got nothing to lose. The defense did not play well, but you're seeing things that are short of showing development for the Titans, and that's a good thing. It is actually a great thing. And I'm not saying that the Titans are going to completely turn their season around because that's just unrealistic to think about. It's not. It's unrealistic to think that the Titans will even be competitive next year with this roster. Now, it depends on what they do in free agency and do they have a good draft. I still can't get into the idea that they'll be competitive next year, but you never know. We'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see. As far as Cam Ward, it's a matter of can he build off of this performance? He played well yesterday, and we all know he's got the confidence to play well and to build off of playing well. But can he with the roster around him? He managed to make things happen with Chim Dike as his number one receiver, Van Jefferson, who you forget is even a human being at some point, not in the good way. You forget he exists. Alec Iamaner, of course, was out. You had Xavier Restrepo out there. He managed to make chicken soup out of chicken crap, if that makes sense. So
I appreciate you not going expletive there.
Yeah.
And getting us both fired.
You're welcome. I am a man of the people, so I will do that. So
we are men.
We
of the people
are men.
You want Country Mondays? I'll bring you Country Mondays.
Well, that's up to Jake Lyman. This isn't my program. I'm just borrowing it for the day. But that'll do it
and
for
tomorrow.
No, I'm off tomorrow.
Oh, you're off tomorrow?
Yeah, Jake's back tomorrow.
Oh, so be okay. Tony Tuesday.
With probably no Tony.
Probably no. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know where Frazier is today. I haven't heard from him. I just knew he was out.
Heard he was getting credentialed by LinkedIn or
with
something.
Chase.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. Speaking of Chase and Big Joe, they are coming up right up next as they are broadcasting from Circa over in Kentucky. Go hang out with them. They'll greatly appreciate it. But for us here on Next Man Up, for Parker Kelly, my name is Connor Newt saying so long. I'll be with you on Black Friday from 8 to 11:30 a.m. Be sure to tune in for that as we get you all the sports talk you need while you're out and about shopping on Black Friday. But for now, we say so long. Chase and Big Joe coming up next right here on 102.5 The Game.